We're going into City Bird.
We're going into
We're
City
going
Bird.
into City
City
Bird.
Bird, are you ready?
Are you ready for these gays? We are at City Bird in Midtown today, and today I'm feeling puss. I'm trying to give myself 3 words to describe how I'm feeling right now.
I love it.
Yeah. All I can think is puss. If you could help add to how we're feeling today. I'm feeling rejuvenated. We
Yes.
served Halloween puss last night. I was Malibu Barbie, Trisha Paytas' daughter, and you were?
I was Nami from One Piece.
Yeah.
The tall, skinny legend.
Tall, skinny legend, really important.
Very.
Yeah.
Culturally relevant. Everything there was culturally relevant, and I like that it was, you know.
It was definitely gay Halloween.
Well, yes.
So yeah, we're here at City Bird today. My good friend Amelia works at City Bird and helped us get a little spot here for us to talk about City Bird and the place that what it provides for the community in terms of getting other small creatives to get their like different things that they make. So whether it's like pottery or soap or artwork or t-shirts or whatever. So this is a place where you can get your stuff in here and sell it if you're like a smaller creative, which I think is really cool. And I really want to start supporting smaller creatives more in the community. And that's what Divas is all about. So yeah, we're really blessed and grateful to be able to be filming in front of City Bird and Ness.
Beautiful place. And
Thank
kind of
you.
on that note to add, because I think I only heard 2 words from you, I'm going to add creative, which might be a little redundant because you just mentioned how this is a nice place for small businesses and small creatives, but I don't know, I'm just feeling so creative. So many ideas.
So many
coursing through our
ideas.
brains.
I'm feeling invigorated. We got our
Fuel.
drinkies. A little cheers. A little diva.
Cheers.
Diva. Cheers. We're going to need it.
Oh,
We're going to need it. I'm so happy you're here.
I'm so happy to be here.
I'm so
honored to be a part of
excited.
this.
You're one of my favorite divas, and like I
It's
just
a mutual feeling.
Yeah, I get so excited. Like we met each other through going to Dolls Night,
Yeah.
you know, and love Dolls Night. Big shout out to the organizers.
A really safe queer space to just
Keep it that
enjoy
way.
ourselves and
Be ourselves.
Yes.
Like dress up, serve cunt. Like this is an outfit I've worn to Dolls Night. I was like, I'm an outfit
Right.
repeater, but I was like, no.
it
like,
deserves to be repeated.
It does. It needs to be seen again.
Yes.
It needs to be seen again.
Yes.
Yeah. And then like you learn through these spaces that like the queer people that are like dancing and serving cunt are also like in the community doing really interesting things and are usually doing a lot of the same things you're doing. Like whether that's like creative or if it's like something social impact, like, you know, what you're doing, speech pathology. So I wanted you to kind of like tell the divas, like who is Diva Ibraheem, what is speech pathology, and how do those things connect for you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So hello, as if I haven't said it a million times, I am Diva Ibraheem. I'm from Toledo, so that's like an hour south of Detroit. But I've, you know, made so many connections here that I feel very close to Detroit. I'm a speech language pathologist in the schools down in Toledo. I do also work in the healthcare from time to time in the nursing homes. So I kind of, yes, I do that.
I didn't know that.
I know I do that PRN. So I just pick up shifts whenever I need a little extra cash. It is very draining, but I like it because I get those, you know, 2 perspectives. I see those 2 spectrums. I see, you know, those really young kids, and then I see, you know, the other end of the spectrum in the nursing homes. But that doesn't define who I am. I am more than just a speech language pathologist. I am very firm in my belief that I never only introduce myself as my job title. I am a creative. I have so many outlets where I express myself. I love fashion. I love dressing up. I love Halloween. Hello, Halloween. I do take pictures from time to time, sometimes as a side gig. I just like getting money. What can I say?
It's good to have side gigs.
Yes.
As a queer person, I feel like we're always on side quests.
Yes.
Because we're like, oh, this is another thing I can do for fun in the community.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it. You want me to take photos for you? Sure. You want me to do this? Okay. Like, we were just talking about that with one of our friends.
Yes.
And we were like, yeah, people just like want to be involved because they get to hang out with their people, and then they also get to give back, and also get to support this whole thing in the process, of becoming something bigger, and that like we're keeping the momentum going, because
Yeah.
that's one of the most important things, and something that I hear a lot in the queer community is like, some things like people will start something and then, it like loses momentum because like, sometimes it's hard to keep momentum.
is.
You need money, you need support, and like, if those things aren't accessible for you or you're not sure how to navigate that, you're not going to know like what to do. And so like I'm hoping Divas with Ideas helps facilitate that more easily
Yeah.
for people who have a hard time, with getting to know other people that do the same things and that have the same interests as them that are also queer, And so like, yeah, I love hearing about like the multi-dimensionalness of a
Yes.
diva, because like that's like, like I'm a social worker, but I'm also doing Divas with Ideas. I'm trying to
You're
do
much
something
more than that.
I'm much more than that. I'm trying to do something creative that like is a different way of, exploring, I guess community practice and using technology and social media as a way of connection, because it's still so new, and like we still like it can be used for like really negative things, or it can be used for stuff like this as a way to like bridge communities that don't get to see each other as often. Like I was talking to somebody last night and they were like, I only get to like, see my like one like queer friend like let's say like every 2 months, and we have to like wait weeks and weeks because our schedules are so busy,
Yeah.
like you said, you have so many side gigs,
Yeah.
like you live an hour and away,
Yeah.
and it's like we can't talk to each other all the time. I would love to
Right.
be able to. That'd be so cool.
I enjoy it so much.
I
Yeah.
know, like I would love this, freaking every day if I could. Like
Yes.
big love. But it's just like not possible. And so like, yeah, having, the virtual space
Yeah.
that feels like it's a productive virtual space, that's something that we're really trying to work on. And so yeah.
Yes. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah. Like, what do you love most about Divas with Ideas so far? And like, is there anything that like you'd like to see more of, or like, I guess I'm just curious to hear like your feedback of what you've seen.
I love the spotlight and the connectivity of it all. It seems very close knit. I haven't had the flexibility and the time. Given that I'm an hour away, and a lot of times I'm either just recovering from the week at work.
Yeah.
But I like how there are so many opportunities. A lot of opportunities that Divas with Ideas collaborates with, but also even beyond that, ones that you just like highlight and attend yourself just to support. I like that, kind of like that mission that you were talking about Divas with Ideas. You're highlighting these safe queer spaces, and these like these spaces for mutual aid. I really like that.
Yeah.
Honestly, I just think like with time, it'll grow.
Yeah.
I don't really have any sort of specific way that I'd like to see it go, because I feel like it's already it's already building itself up.
I want it to form around the community's needs. That's
Yeah.
why it's like, I think maybe that is why it's like, we don't have any like specific thing that we'd like to say it has to be, because it kind of is a bunch of different things.
Yes.
And it's going to take shape around what is needed most. So if what needed most is like, more daytime events for queer people to hang out and get to know each other, that's what we're going to do. If it's like having a support group, we want to prioritize that, then we'll do that. I would like to do all the things at once if I could, but it's what the community needs. And so that's why like the feedback is so important. Like I would love for people to engage more like in the comment sections of like our podcasts and like our Instagram posts, and like, just like engage with each other about like what are they enjoying, or like, oh, I do like something similar to what you do, you know what I mean? Like this is my experience, and people sharing their similar experiences they've had, just because you felt brave enough to like speak in front of a camera and talk about what you really do and your experience. So yeah, big slay. Love that.
Use my hat here. Should I reveal mine? Revealing our shaggy mullets. Yes. Revealing our twin shaggy mullets. I went to my hairstylist Crystal and I said, I want the Diva special. And she said, oh, you want that crisp special? I said, I want that crispy crisp.
But you talking, I want to get back to your point. You talking kind of I had a light bulb moment. I think, especially after seeing yesterday, you were at the
Queer Mutual Aid event. Yes. With Kissmoresapphics and Planned Parenthood Advocates of Michigan. So fun. We got to stamp Divas with ideas on clothes. Diva Amelia made that. That's the coolest thing ever.
When I first saw it, I almost lit up and was like, oh my God, where can I buy one? Because I thought you were printing or like stamping shirts. And then I saw, Lyric and all the other people that you posted on your story with their own stamped, unique pieces. And I was like, oh, you're stamping the pieces that they got from the Creamy Mutual Aid. So, and I don't know too much about, the behind the scenes of Divas with Ideas, but I'd love like a way to support more than just, being here and being a part of it.
Yeah.
I would love to buy a shirt from you, a Divas with Ideas shirt, like something that goes, some financial support, because I know that like all this does take time, but it, there are ideas that will, need more than just time and effort.
Right, like, I'd love to have a budget for certain things and certain workshops and other creative things to do. But yeah, like that's where I see like the two prongs of Divas with Ideas, because like I've been really like, after this podcast is pretty much finished up, the next like 2 months during like the holiday season, I'm really gonna like take a step back from like doing lots of events and stuff, and more kind of like work on like creating like, okay, what is actually Divas with Ideas? We have all these ideas. Is it a nonprofit? Okay, what are we doing with that? How are we even going to get funding? We're gay people. Who wants to fund the gay people? Who wants to fund small businesses?
Other.
Like each other. And that's like, that's why it's like, having like merchandise and things that people can buy, where it also just makes them feel like more part of the community at the same time. Like I really want like that this is not just like a money grab. You know what I mean? Like I want there to be like an intentional part to every single thing we do, and that like some part of it in some way gives back or makes somebody feel more included in their community just by participating or purchasing, or donating to an event, whatever. Like I want it to feel like that, and because sometimes it is more of a money grab for other things out there, and I get everybody has to make their bag, but like there is a balance, and like having a business I know always teeters that, but that's why we have conversations like this, because it like helps further develop those ideas so they become what they need to be and what the community really needs. So yeah.
I was just thinking, I was multitasking. I was listening and forming my own new thoughts. That's something I've never done before. I cannot multitask.
Diva with an idea?
Idea, yeah. I was thinking, because, branding merchandise could, there's that risk of, well, first of all, there's a lot of effort in finding a vendor, but if you want to find a vendor, then you need to have that, demand. And I think with something so fluid like this, I don't think that, there is like a specific demand. So I was thinking, like, what if you stamp, other unique pieces? I'm trying to think more sustainable pieces, more cost friendly, because everybody's on a budget. We're on a budget.
No, that's why like I felt like at the stuff swap, like people stamping like clothes that they got from the stuff swap was already like just like a great way to like bring in sustainability into that piece. And so I mean that could be what we do, is we could like source clothing from the community, and ask people and be like, okay, we're gonna put the Divas with Ideas stamp on all these clothes, and then we're gonna like sell them like this range of the cost or whatever, like minimum like $5 or something like that, and then if you come to one of our events, you can maybe try and get it for free if you come to an event, like, because exactly, like I want to keep accessibility on the forefront. I never want like, not having money to be a reason someone can't show up or support, so, but I also want to make that part also available and encouraged at the same front, so, but I want to do that stuff.
Yeah, and I'm always, I see a lot of community events. I remember seeing, I think there was one that Divas with Ideas highlighted a while ago, but there were some other ones like locally in Detroit. When I say locally, I mean Detroit. Nobody's talking about Toledo. That were like swap meets, and I always have so much clothes, and I would return that, or not return that, but basically return because I get all my clothes from like Salvation or Goodwill. But I would redonate them there, but I feel like there's just like an influx there, but you know, I would rather like know where I'm donating my clothes to and who I'm donating them to or like giving them to. And I have so many pieces that, you know, I've just like grown out of, you know, stylistically and also like physically. We're getting big. Yeah, so I just love that sustainability part of it too. Like, you know, it's like bartering. Bring back bartering. Like,
No,
let me just
literally,
give you
like that's what I want to do
bag of
more.
clothes.
Like, yeah, like the toolbox brunch event, you know, like that's going to be like the beginning of like the facilitation of that, and then like trying to collect also like contact information, because I would love like to create basically like a live like contact kind of book. What do you call that? Like a yellow pages.
It's like a contact.
Yeah.
What's it called? Yeah.
A directory of sorts. Yeah, like something accessible that would be like a living, you know, thing that people could also like add to themselves. Like I would love for it to like have a Divas with Ideas website eventually, and to have something where people can go on the website, you know, and scroll through and see all, you know, the different things that people want to like trade or barter, or this is my skill, this is what I'm looking for. Like, I just... Yeah, we need that's something we would need a budget for. That's something that we would need like probably like a grant for to build, which, you know, I'm going to figure that out. We're going to try if you've ever heard of, there's all these places like Motor City Match, and there's a bunch of things out there, but I gotta lock in is what I got to do. So if anybody has recommendations, I feel like this is a good moment to like ask the audience, if you are somebody that like, you know, works for a small business, or if you're trying to form something, and any advice that you have or any recommendations for local Detroit resources for like small business, small nonprofit, to like, you know, like, oh, this is like a grant that's like coming up soon, like here's a heads up. Because sometimes I find out that like you can apply something and then it's like 2 days before like the deadline, and I'm like so yeah, it's always nice to have the community also be like plugged in and letting us know. So that is always appreciated as we try and build. So yeah, enough about business stuff. I want to learn more about Ibraheem, and then we'll dig back in. We'll jump back in. We'll loop it back. Well, it all comes full circle. It does. It's all Diva. But yeah, I wanted to just have a little more insight into like your, like, before we jump into like what you do and all that stuff, like your queer identity, your cultural identity. Because when we first met, it was so fun like speaking with you, because like as somebody who has like an immigrant parent, meeting anybody else that has immigrant parents and, you know, has a background of like understanding like what that is like, and then being a queer person in that context, you know, like, and like just going through all the trials and tribulations and finding yourself, like, you know, I just like wanted to hear from you, I guess, like your experience and like how you've identified and kind of like, you know, become you, but what that experience, you know, is like, and you know, just
so I think it's important definitely to start with like my cultural identity, because that kind of like shaped my obviously queer identity, but also just like my identity in general. They all intersect. I am Lebanese and, shameless plug, a little bit Brazilian, even though I barely claim it, but I have to. I need to start. Yes.
Brazil.
Hips don't lie. She's
that
not
right?
Brazilian one bit. I grew up in a very, you know, cultural and religious household. And, you know, coming to terms with my identity was, you know, a struggle just like anybody else, you know. Doesn't, you know, it's not only because of my cultural identity, but that definitely played a part in like how I was able to come to terms with myself. These days, I'm just comfortable going by he, him, but I'm also comfortable just with any pronouns. I always tell everybody who asks me, I go by he, him, but call me whatever and I'll turn my head. Don't bark, but yes, stuff like that. Just not a bark. Anything else, I will turn my head.
Right. Wow, wow, wow. That's just me when Diva's like serving a lock. I'm like, bark, bark, bark.
I know, and that,
you know?
that's,
in that
that's
context.
Okay. That's okay. But yes, I'm very open and fluid in my, you know, appearance. You're very familiar with.
Yeah.
You know, growing up with so many like parts of my identity, it helped me become so comfortable in being whatever, because, you know, this newfound freedom however long ago, you know, experimenting with all these different ways that I could express myself, it kind of satisfied me no matter what, you know, way I express myself. So
Right.
I still feel comfortable any certain way.
Yeah.
Well, yes.
I love it. No, I love it. I love just like hearing about that because I feel like people try to like, you know, like pinpoint exactly what one thing is or whatever, but like I don't know, as a queer person, like the reality is like things are just constantly shifting and changing. I'm
Right.
constantly shifting and changing the way I want to dress. Like that's just and I wish everybody could like feel comfortable like that, and it's like taken a lot of like, you know, personal work, therapy, being with other people
Yeah.
that, you know, are aligned in that kind of way, you know, because like it definitely like has helped with like who I surround myself with, you know, because like being in the Detroit queer community, I feel like has made me feel so much more like secure to just
Yeah.
like not give a fuck, you know,
Right.
about any of it, you know, and
Right.
not try and like label hard on any of it. And it just that feels so good. Yeah, I guess was there anything else you wanted to dig in with that, or you feel good?
You mentioned something about like feeling so secure in like these queer spaces, and I only started coming out to these, you know, queer spaces that we're talking about, specifically in Detroit, quite literally a year ago. It was like
Same,
right
like-
before Halloween, and it was way after I developed, you know, my confidence and my comfortability in my own skin. But coming out here made me realize that like, oh my God, no, it's like even more, like I could feel even more comfortable. I thought that like, you know, oh, I'm content with who I am. I'm content with how I identify myself. But you know,
Yeah.
coming out to Detroit was, you know, with such a close knit queer community, it was a huge culture shock.
Yeah.
Because you're telling me girls are hitting on me? What? I've never had a girl hit on me before.
Wow.
Yeah, until I came here.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh my,
Slay.
like, and that's not what I'm talking about. That's not like the only thing that I'm talking about, but it's just like a culture shock. Like I said, that was kind of my example of a culture shock. It was
Yeah.
so close knit and so comfortable.
Right.
And that's why I'm still coming back.
And we love that you're here. Like,
Yes.
so yeah, no, I love that part too. I just like whenever I feel like when I'm in Detroit, like compared, like I grew up, you know, in Macomb, which is like suburban lands, and do you know anything about Macomb? I was like, oh,
Been there way. I've been there too much.
Yeah.
More
yeah.
times than I needed to.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Haven't
mean,
been
like,
there in years, but-
I've had, you know, a lot of wonderful
Yeah.
friends from high school, but in terms of like, you know, like safeness and queer community there, like it's not really there. Well, it's just, I don't know. It's like, it's the community. It's like the safeness. Like when I come to Detroit, I literally like, it feels like a hug. Like,
especially like having
Yeah.
that, you know, creating this home in this
Yeah.
place where you know you're more safe.
yeah.
It's not that over there. It's just not safe. It's just I found a place that's more comfortable for me. And
Yeah, it just feels more welcoming. The people I interact with every day are more welcoming. I run
yeah.
across more queer people every day more often just because I'm here. You know, just because like in the end there's like a couple places that we all just kind of turn up to pretty
Yeah.
often. So I keep on seeing like the same people over and over again, and then like boom, community.
And I don't
like
have to guess if you're being overly friendly or if you're, you know,
yeah.
it's
So the next section of the podcast is connecting on the professional level. And I don't want to just say professional because we're not all like professionals, but more just like on your skills, maybe the stuff that, you know, you've taken classes for,
Yeah.
or the stuff that you've just done for a long time and now you have the interpersonal skills or whatever to do it, you know, because
Yeah.
not everybody need to go to school to have this skill or the other. So like just like to start off, I wanted to ask, like, why do you think so many queer people end up working in helping professions? Because a lot of the queer people that I meet
Yeah.
end up in these kinds of things, you know? And it's like, so what are your thoughts on that? What are your observations?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a great question because I share that, you know, belief in that. I don't even want to say belief. It's more of an observation because it's true. I see it with my own eyes. There are a lot of people, specifically, you know, that I met healthcare, education, anything serving the public, social work, stuff like that.
Right.
I think it all boils down to empathy, and that's a lot of that's a quality that a lot of us share and have in common. And when you look at it, the upbringing of many queer individuals, it is a rough and hard. It's a difficult. Most times, it's a difficult childhood because you start to begin to realize your identity, come to terms with it as a child. Still in childhood, at least that was for me, and a lot of my friends. So having that experience as an adult and looking back on it, like, I have so much empathy for people who not only go through the same things, but people who just have a hard upbringing, and specifically people who come from who have immigrant parents, who come from a cultural household, a religious household. All those things could they could help nourish and nurture you, but they could also be a struggle and an obstacle. And I wanted to kind of like mention a personal anecdote that's kind of like related to this question. Recently was working with this one student who honestly puts up a front and says he hates to come to my sessions, always pouting, always this and that.
So for your speech pathology stuff that you do?
Yes. They're 15, 20-minute sessions. We're working on sounds. We're working on sounds that they have difficulties with. And I make it fun. I play their favorite game. I play checkers with them, which I'm surprised kids even know checkers, period.
Yeah, they do know checkers.
But I decided to play hangman this past week with him. And to kind of motivate them, I was like, okay, you get to go after you guess one of my words. They're young, they don't know how to spell. They chose a random, they were actually 2 words, and after I figured it out, it was Mr. Poop. And they started to laugh, and I was like, what's the word? And they were like, poop mister. And then I realized that was a jab at me, and that was them getting back at me for taking them out of class. And they started laughing kind of in a joking way. Like, they started to open back up, back to the student that I saw in the beginning of the year who was motivated to come to my sessions. And instead of, cutting that off and being like, okay, you're not getting your sticker for the day. You are going back to class. We're never doing fun stuff again. I just let it go because I'm like, you know what? That is some shit I would do too as a kid. But I felt so I don't know. I don't even want to say, is it empathy? I just felt bad because I was like, I don't want to go off on this kid.
No, and I mean, I think it's it created a lighthearted moment for connection.
Yeah.
It could have been
either way.
What if it was a bid for connection? You know, I don't know, because sometimes there's that disconnectedness, and you don't even know if it's because of school or because of you. It could be something totally out of your control, and that's why they're more disengaged. You know, so it's having that kind of moment where it feels just oh, we're just 2 people trying to get some work done, trying to help you, know, and getting back to that, because and that's what you do with students. It's all about play and how you re-engage
that relationship building too. And I could tell that he was kind of getting embarrassed because he was laughing, and what my confusion was, I think he understood as me about to retaliate and say something to him, which I've never done. I'm not that kind of person. But, him knowing that it was, not so appropriate to call somebody Mr. Poop. But he was kind of cowering and laughing. Yeah. But I'm like, that's so real, because I understand that after I would make an inappropriate joke as a child, I would laugh as a defense mechanism. Oh, ha ha ha, laugh with me. This is supposed to be a joke. Yeah. So I took it as a joke, and I just went on with it. But that short but really long story was basically just to highlight that that empathy. I felt, I saw myself in that situation. Exactly. And I'm I don't want to be the person that somebody else was to me when I made a joke that I thought was a funny, lighthearted joke.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it's just like getting on their level, you
Yeah.
know what I mean, and meeting them where they're
Right.
at, which is like a huge thing with like helping professions and social work, and you know, like to like try and remove that like feeling of like the like hierarchy, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
and then it's just like it's a person to person connection, you know, moment, and so, you know, and I see you or
Yeah.
like I relate to you, I understand, and I'm giving space for, you know, whatever different moment we gotta have right now, because yeah, it's so helpful with building healthier connection. So
Yeah.
I love that.
Yes.
But yeah, yeah, divas and helping professions. So I'm curious to ask you about like how you ended up in the helping profession of speech pathology. Like what led you to making that decision of wanting to do that? Because I know you said you do some stuff at like the nursing homes,
Yeah.
like picking up shifts. So those are both like helping type things.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm curious, was there stuff that was that what you were doing before you got into speech pathology?
I actually do. I'm a speech therapist at the nursing home too.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's like a lot of different things with, you know, the clients there at the nursing home. It's a lot of like swallowing and like cognitive stuff. Not my cup of tea, but
yeah.
it's nice to fall back on. But back to your original question, I really just thought of it, which I thought of graphic design or speech language pathology. Graphic design is my passion. Not really. I really liked it, but I knew that I would stay in Ohio, and I was like, I mean, now with like the influx of like remote positions, yeah, sure, it's more accessible, but still like I would have more opportunities if I lived in a bigger city. So I knew, I'm glad that like I had that epiphany that like, wait, staying in Toledo and pursuing graphic design is not really the greatest idea. And my second one was speech language pathology. I just heard those 3 words and I was like, that sounds cool. I looked into it and I was like, sounds cooler.
Yeah.
And then I spent the last, 6 years and
just because something, isn't that how it is though? That's literally what we do like in middle school and high school is they make us like look through these definitions of different professions and they're like, so which one sounds cool basically, or which sounds most like you? And then you just decide that you're going to study for 5-6 years doing that one thing, and hopefully it ends up being what you want it to really be for you, and ends up not being the most draining thing ever, and that it is the good fit, you know.
And I do like that, you know, I'm able to be a little bit creative. Personal opinion, I do like this working in schools because I'm able to be creative, not only in like, you're able to be creative wherever you want, you know, there are no limits, but specifically in the schools, the, you know, uniform, there's no uniform. I get to wear funky vests. I get to be the Miss Frizzle of that school. Like,
I love that.
I like that, but also, you know, that flexibility and that freedom.
The power of being a visible queer person, though.
And is that something we want to talk about now, specifically visible queer person in
I think
the
it's
school?
I think you're already there. So if you want to dig in to that, I would love to hear, because I also want to talk about that too.
Yeah.
And how that is.
I'd love to hear your experience.
Yeah.
I know we talked about it before, but I want to you know, see if our ideas bounce back off of each other.
Yes.
So this job that I'm working at, I started, you know, in the school year, August, so it's been like a couple months. And I wouldn't say I'm visibly queer. I tend not to be, just, I don't know, is that a subconscious defense mechanism? Who knows?
Who knows?
Is that just, I mean,
like, also everybody perceives differently.
Right.
So someone could perceive you as queer, or someone could, like, it just depends on their personal experience with other queer people.
But there is no like confirmation on my side.
Yeah.
In specifics of it, but I feel like how you said, everybody perceives things differently.
Yes, exactly.
And, you know, kind of back to my point of, is it a defense mechanism? Kind of, because I don't want somebody to perceive, you know, my playfulness with a student, or my, basically my playfulness, because all of my, you know, time with these kids, I try to make fun, both for our sakes. I don't want to do boring worksheets. I want to play with you. I want to get paid to play checkers.
Yeah, exactly. Because like I wanted to touch on that for a second of how somebody perceives it, just because like like the fact, like, because I feel like it digs into like an important fact of like the, like, you know, misconceptions of queer people, and like, you know, the big kind of like propaganda thing that's always pushed is like that like we're too inappropriate for children, or like the hypersexualization of our identities, you know what I mean? That like, oh, me like dressing up as a queer person, or me being like, you know, more feminine acting in my behaviors or whatever, that constitutes as something that is like bad for children. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's what's being hypersexualized, that you think I'm like what, like trying to act like some inappropriate way to a child because
But it's just how you.
Yeah, and it's literally just like your personality, you know what I mean? Like, and it's just part of like who you are, and so it's just like, and you can't change that, you know, you don't want to, but it's like, I don't know, it's a tricky line, but it's always something, you know, like I dealt with like when I first like came out and stuff, you know, like, because there was that like, oh, you know, like I would say just in general, because I don't want to get specific, but like, you know, like the weariness around like younger people from the adults, like in my life, you know, or just like heard in general, you know, where they're like, yeah, you know, we don't want you around like this younger person in the family, or, you know, we don't like, and then it goes like bigger than that. You see that all the time. We're like, we don't, you know, like want the drag queen there. There's going to be children there. It's like, what do you mean?
Yeah, and
you know, depends on what that drag queen is actually doing. Like, obviously, there are certain things that actually constitute as like 18 plus.
Yes.
Of course, there's always that stuff. But it's like, if they're not doing that, it's fine. That's just like their gender expression. You know what I mean? I feel like this would be is a fun way to to get into it in the podcast, because we don't get to talk about this shit all the time. And I think it's an important conversation just like to mention and have, of like how it feels to be, you know, perceived in that way, you know, because it doesn't feel good, and it sucks, and it's not what we're trying to do. And, you know, I'm not trying to speak on everybody's experience in the world or anything, but I think it's just something that.
But it's definitely something a lot of people. It's a feeling a lot of people share. Yeah. And it's, you know, at the end of the day, I think about it, I'm like, it's my job. Like, I don't need to. I know that there are other people that are visibly queer. Or like visibly supporting. I don't know. But still, it's kind of like, well, that's not everybody that's in the picture. You know, there are also the parents of the children, you know. Everybody has their own opinions. Everybody. And it's like, I feel like just to avoid that entirely, I'll wear my funky outfits. You can think whatever you want.
Literally.
Like, I'm not, you know, just like if you ask me my age, I'm not going to give you an answer.
No.
How old are you? Old enough.
Old enough to be teaching.
Exactly.
To have gotten a degree and do the work.
Right.
That I was hired for, that I had the skills for.
So let's keep it pushing. And that's I think that's how I feel now. I mean, I have so many other opportunities for me to express myself. But that's not to say that I am not a safe space within those, you know, spaces that I work in. I'm obviously, you know, my identity doesn't like switch.
Right. No.
Maybe my voice drops a few octaves, but but
the code switching. I mean, I feel like a lot of BIPOC people just and trans and non-binary queer people like endure that to a certain extent, whether they're trying to or not, like kind of like mask like parts of themselves or hide part of themselves. And like, I don't know, it's an important thing to talk about, because like if things keep on going the way they are, and if it gets worse, that also is like, you know, worse for like the mental health and well-being of queer people, you know, because it sucks to have to like push down like all the aspects of how you just outwardly express yourself. You don't want to have to do that. So important one.
Yes.
Was there anything else you wanted to talk about that, or do you want to dig into another? So within every profession, there are biases and misinformation that can be harmful to those we help. Often these biases or misinformation affect our most vulnerable clients. So like, I took an example from like an article that I looked up on the Journal of Communication Disorders about so African American English like speakers, or just like Black children who often like will speak in, you know, because there's like, I bet you could speak better on like the differences in like language, because there's like African American English, which is like different from, I don't know what would be
standard American
is that what
English.
you say is standard American English. And so how, younger like Black children are misrepresented on speech language pathologists caseloads, and are on there just because of the way that they speak differently. And so I was just curious, with whether you're working with students like from just like different backgrounds, or they speak like completely like other different languages, and you're helping students like, because like you pronounce vowels and things differently. I don't know if you deal with that kind of stuff, like because like in like the Filipino language, it's like A, E, I, O, U is like the vowels, so, and then helping a child pronounce it in the English, version. And so I was just curious, I guess, on like what you have encountered, I guess, in there, and if there's anything you want to help like advocate for, I guess, like in that space, what you've noticed, that like you wish would be different.
I just want to start by saying that I love that I'm able to like answer these questions finally, like these questions that have been asked throughout however long, throughout all my studies or whatever, but I'm finally able to answer with like personal anecdotes. It's kind of like, oh my God, I'm reaping the benefits that I sowed. I do think it's a big part. It is a big part of what we learn in this field, cultural sensitivity. That's a big part of whatever you go into, having to be mindful and aware of how other people's culture and identity impacts, the way that they live and the way that they, function respective to your field is something that everybody, is taught. And I use that very loosely because it's great to have that awareness of, everybody has a different upbringing, but it takes more than just textbook memorization to understand how to combat these biases and misinformation.
Exactly.
And I think, coming from a cultural, religious, having this intersectional identity helps me better understand these biases and combat them.
Right.
So I just think that it's really important to note with every, student or client that I work with, where are they from, what's their culture, the languages that they speak. Obviously, that's very important. But I did have this one student a year ago. It was at an internship, so it wasn't even when I was working, but I was basically working for free, who my supervisor wanted to discharge from services. This was in high school. We were seeing them for social communication because apparently they had inappropriate behaviors and didn't understand social rules, apparently. Through testing and everything else, they were scoring within the average range, which is typically like, okay, you're average. You don't need, special instruction in any sort of speech language area. He is Chinese, so what we had to do is kind of look into that culture and understand, like, are there any, are his scores and his behavior synonymous with the Chinese culture? And through some research, we found that, typically Chinese culture, strong emotions are looked down upon. And there's typically a flat affect, which is basically just like, I don't want to say little to no emotion, but it's plain emotions.
Right. Like how they express themselves is just differently because it's all based on like what they've observed, you know, in their culture. So like they're in school for like the first time and they're like, they don't realize that, you know?
Yeah. And to, advocate for this student to everybody else who doesn't understand or who might not know their culture. Because I didn't know their culture 2 hours before looking it up.
No.
I just found it out. It's easily accessible. So I had to kind of advocate for this student that this is not a, communication difference. It's a cultural difference. And that is something that you cannot change. So I think it's really important to first take into account their identity before making any sort of assumption or conclusion. African American English speakers, that they're very relevant. not only with like the sounds that they produce and the sounds that they, substitute. One of the most common ones is F for TH. So saying math instead of math. There are a lot of students that I work with that, I work on that sound with. None of them are African American English speakers, but if they were, that would be something important to know. But it also is something more than just like their sounds. It's also the language.
Yes.
When you're testing students, a lot of times these standardized tests that are, standardized.
Hearing the word standardized test literally makes me like...
gonna bend the metal.
Literally bend the metal.
Jackie Kennedy.
Like...
But no, it's, finally, well, I don't want to say finally, because I don't know what it was like decades ago or whatever, but I can imagine that they weren't standardized on a diverse population. But now, when I look at these scoring rules,
yeah,
and we're looking at sentence formation, it's like if they used this word gonna instead of going to, do not count that as a as incorrect, because that's if they're an American English speaker, if they're this and that.
Yeah.
So it's all there for you. All the tools are there for you.
Yeah.
So my main point that I want to
sum
all of this up. You need to have that intrinsic motivation to want to help these students, these clients, whoever it is, more than just pick them up and see them like it's a job.
Right.
You
need to get to know them.
Right.
You gotta.
You need to be aware. You need to be mindful. You can't just, like I said, you can't just take what you learned from class 5 years ago. You need to, constantly be reading up on. You need to constantly keep that in the back of your head.
Like what is the full context? Like, it isn't just
where do they come from?
Like, going back to, like, it isn't just the student in front of me. Like, there are all these other external factors, but even besides their, cultural background that, like, we don't know about, or what's going on, their level of support at home that they have for, like, continued learning after they get back home from the classroom. Do they have that?
You need to justify everything you're doing, and with insurance, you need to justify everything you're doing.
No, literally, like, everything documented.
Yes. So, just like you justify, why you're seeing them, you also need to be able to justify why you're not going to see them. I'm not going to I don't think that they're an appropriate fit because of these cultural differences, even though compared to their, white counterparts, their, whatever it is, the standard, the, typical population, just because compared to them, they are they're below average, does not mean that they need any sort of support. They don't need this and that. So, just staying mindful and staying.
Which is... I feel like sometimes that quality, is sometimes like a hard thing to teach unless you've experienced it.
Exactly.
And that's why so many queer people end up, going back to that, in these professions, is because they have to, the full circle. Yeah, exactly. And that's why we end up there, because I've experienced it a lot, like, in social work, like, where there are people that, don't, like, have, like, as many, like, intersections and just haven't been exposed as to many other, like, cultural differences or cultural barriers and hardships, like having that juxtaposition of that and then living in America, and, like, have not experienced that and just maybe plainly don't understand, and so that therefore they don't dig as deep when they are with other people, because they just they have never, like, had to do that for themselves, and so it's just like, that's why it's important to, like, talk about it like this, to try and at least help bring awareness to what that is, because it doesn't get to really happen a lot of time, and it's a really frustrating thing as a social worker. Like, I, like, for my, like, daytime job, I'm helping like older adults and helping, like, diverse people who have, Medicare and could be immigrants, people that don't speak any English, like, are really, really old, live alone, isolated, like, all these things, and you have to have a lot of patience. Those people are not, they're going to take a lot more re-explaining, and you have to be willing to be okay with that. And some people don't. Some people don't have the patience for that. And, like, it sucks, and that's why, but it's just like, it's the truth, and it's something that needs to be clocked, and it needs to be clocked hard, because like that means that, you know, this person isn't getting like the support that they need, and like you're providing better support to like basically like, you know, white people that grew up here, but you're not able to like extend that additional support and care to someone who needs a little extra, you know, like explanation and stuff. And it's just like, you see that stuff all the time in helping, you know, professions.
Yeah.
And it's also like a product also of like our current like climate and environment that we're living in, you know. So the people that are already like that are now not seeking out like listening to conversations like this or educating themselves in these kinds of ways, because they're taking it away. They're taking away DEI, and there's people like on the news that are saying, you know, like you shouldn't do that, like the political leaders and stuff. So it's just like it is making it, you know, harder for people on the other side of that, and trying to like at least like help them see. It's like those opportunities to help them see are like they're trying to take that away. And so it's really frustrating, especially like in the workplace, you know, they're trying to take that away. And so like I'm hoping with like with Divas with Ideas, like we're helping bring some of that context back into light in an accessible way for people to see, because it's so important, and especially right now. So yeah, clocked that T.
Yes. Like Dan was saying earlier, put yourself in positions that, you know, you're typically not in. Because that position that you are forcing yourself to be in, that you're forcing these people to give you space to exist in, may give another person in that space, you know, some company and some comfortability. You may be the only person that is a safe space for them, because you have forced yourself into that position.
Exactly.
Kind of like, say, you know, being that, you know, that only queer person, being that only BIPOC person in your job, in your, you know, direct team. You know, without you, who would be, you know, mindful of all these different intersectionalities and the way that they play together in these people's identities. Not to say that there's nobody but you're the chosen one, but
that's why the presence is so important, and just it's necessary to improve like healthy human connections and experiences that are, you know, like, you know, we're facilitating that, because it can't be done if it's all the same person in one room.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's why I'm talking to a bunch of different people that are like so, might be so different from me or very alike. Like, I want to hear it all. So I just, I love this. I need a sunshine break. Hey, we changed locations. Which I'm like, do I like sit like a little back I feel like this is a weird way to conversate though. I don't know.
How do we look, Dan?
Is it doing something for,
I think it's kind of nice. Like we
I feel like we're connecting in a special way.
Because it's kind of like
an
allegory.
Look at our divas with ideas, and our brains are connecting.
Yeah, but like we're coming together, but we both have different outlooks. Like we both have different perspectives right now.
We do have both different perspectives right now.
So where are we now? What's present day like for you, Chris?
What is it? How are we doing? This is a check-in. We're doing a check-in right now. How are we doing, Divas? And honestly, I've been overwhelmed. It's a lot of work.
It is.
A diva that also wants to be a community organizer and also needs to have a full-time job to live, and also has to maintain her own relationships.
Yes,
and
especially during this spooky month. Oof.
Oh my God.
It's a lot. And you know, organizing your own functions.
I know. I've just been feeling really overstimulated.
Yeah.
I guess, and it's just like,
I hope that this, you know, holiday season can give you, you know, some break in some sort of capacity. I know you said, you know, you want to, or you're thinking of going on kind of like the podcast break and figuring out. I hope that, you
more
know,
like short form, because I think what I'm going to do is make content about my discovery of like, you know, trying to form this into an actual business, and doing more stuff that is, I guess, like low key, like not as like hyper organized, and more as like organized by the collective of people, and having more group like diva meetings and stuff, and
gives
doing more support group stuff, doing more like planning more as a group, letting the community like help plan what it is a bit more and stuff, and involving that, because I think that will help me feel less overstimulated, because I just
let it be a collective effort.
And
I know you're taking a lot of it.
Which is it's hard to not do that, you know, because it's like when you're like a neurodivergent person, you know, you're like, I got to do it all. It's only me. And then you make yourself feel crazy. And I need to get tested for ADHD and autism, because I definitely have one, two, or both. And I just like, I know I struggle, and I don't know if there's anything out there else besides what I'm already doing, you know, that can help me. So, just speaking very candidly, like, about that, and that, like, but we're getting there. We're figuring out. I have so much good support in my life. More support.
I'm glad.
And healthy support that I've ever had in my entire life. And I feel so lucky and blessed to be where I am.
Likewise.
And like, I'm just so grateful every day. Like, literally Dan hears from me like every other week that like I'm having the best day ever. You know?
I love that.
I like, just because like I'm doing diva shit and I'm doing what I love.
You're doing what
I'm
you
with
love.
The people I love. Like,
and that's the best medicine.
Exactly. And like, it's such a privilege to be able to have any of that.
Yeah.
You know?
even in just like one aspect of your life, even if it's just one out of 100 things that you do, if there's one thing that you're doing that you love, it really makes up for the rest that's like just boot cheeks.
I feel like I know what I need to do to feel, you know, more secure and more grounded in what I'm doing. It's just, you know, we're trialing and erroring it, and we're figuring it out, but it's good. It's okay. It's good. It's just like a lot, you know, but I feel like life is a lot right now. Like, I'm grateful to just like, you know, be able to do what I do and keep on doing it, even if it's like I just existed that day, you know? Like, because that's where we are, like, in the world. And I feel like that's how it always has been. Like, I feel like people are like, oh my God, like, it's so much more this and that, but it's like, you still gotta like take care of you. And just do that.
You can only
like
do so much.
That part hasn't changed, you know? Like, you know, you still have to do that for you. Like, you can't let yourself get burnt out, like, all the time by the bullshit that's being spread, because that's what they want, you know? They want to disable you and make you feel like you're helpless, you know? And but you're not, you know what I mean? You're in control of what, you know, like there's like this pillow in my therapist's office, and it has like a little circle of all the things you can control and then what you can't. You know what I mean?
The circles.
Yes.
Oh, I love that.
Like, all that stuff that's in your like center, you know, of control, like, you get to decide how that is. You get to decide if it's, you know, something that is helping you and like making you feel joy, and you're choosing that, you know, you get to like make that choice. And like, if that's what we have, you know, then that's what we're going to try and take control of. And that's what Divas with Ideas is like, we're taking control of the narrative of, you know, who a diva is, and, you know, what queer people and people of color and BIPOC people are to the queer community, you know? Like, hello?
Sorry, I should have prefaced by saying I wanted to sniff the flowers. These flowers smell good.
But
yes, that's...
Well, these ones smell good too. Yeah, they smell good too.
We'll take...
I wanted to check in with Ibraheem. How, in this present moment, and how are you doing?
I honestly feel fulfilled. You know, I don't want to say content. I feel like that's a very neutral connotation. And you are what you speak into existence. So I'm fulfilled.
True.
Like, I definitely could use you know, some more joy, however that comes. You know, I'm never gonna block my blessings. But at the current moment, like, I'm, you know, everything is falling into place. I'm doing what I like right now. I did what I liked this whole weekend. I didn't touch my work. I will probably touch it once I go home, though. But, you know, just knowing, having, when the friend hangout is confirmed at the end of the week.
No, literally
like
that's how I
how
felt. I was like, oh my
Yeah.
God, event this weekend for the gays, and then I'm gonna be hanging out
Exactly.
with the gays in the evening, and then the next day I'm gonna be making stuff with the gays. Like,
Yeah,
can it
it's
can it get any better than this?
right. And
Like,
next weekend next weekend will be next weekend will be
oh,
boots.
it's gonna be boots down.
You got Halloween.
boots
then
on the ground.
Boots on the ground.
Boots on the dance floor.
Boots on the dance floor. Boots in the air. Legs wide apart.
Legs side apart. Puss, 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 puss. Like
Puss,
it's
puss, puss, puss.
puss, puss.
But yes, no, knowing that there's things to look forward to like every week, I think that's
Yes.
what's keeping me fulfilled. Even if it's just like,
Yeah.
oh, I get to wear like a silly little outfit to work. I was wearing
Right.
not silly outfits, but I was wearing like nice outfits all last week, and I was like, I'm excited to go to work every day. I can't wait until I can go back to work so I can wear a new outfit.
Yeah.
Like I just love
Right.
putting
And you get to
outfits
create
together.
that joy.
Yes.
Nobody else gave that to you. You didn't need to like, you know.
Yeah, this was all independent. Like I'm
Yeah,
independently
for you, Diva.
fulfilled, but I'm also like fulfilled by like all the people that
Yeah.
I surround myself with, and I'm glad that there are so many opportunities for me to see and experience life with these people.
Yeah.
And yes, I
So much gratitude right now.
so much gratitude.
So much It's good to practice gratitude as a queer person when there's a lot of bad shit that can happen.
Yes.
Like, you know, and that it doesn't have to be something like gigantic that you gotta, like, it's not like, I got to this milestone, now I feel grateful. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that's where we, like, create barriers to
Yeah.
our own joy by doing that, Like, once I achieve this, then I'll be
Right.
happy. And
Be
it's
happy
like,
all throughout the way, baby.
yeah, like you get to create like smaller moments. If you want to, it's all about how you perceive the world. You know what I mean? Like I can like look at these flowers and like that's my joy for today, I guess.
Right, you smelling them,
like I was like, oh, those smell nice.
Right.
That's my joy for today. Like if I didn't like for some reason get to do this and all I got to do was smell these flowers, I'd be like, well, that's nice, I guess.
You got to go out and soak up the sun.
It wasn't extravagant. It doesn't
No.
have to be extravagant. You know what I
Doesn't.
mean? Like of course, like a diva is extravagant.
Yes.
But like.
I think this is where we come back full circle.
It's a little circle.
Yes.
We start and then we like start spinning around and then we like it's like a little helicopter and we go into the sky.
Helicopter.
You remember that
Oh.
one? And then you'd like everybody in there and then you'd speed it up.
Who's the lawyer? The famous Dearborn
Jumana?
lawyer, 613 down, Jumana. Who's gonna be her for Halloween though?
Wait, can we please get a Jumana? There was a Jumana like contest, lookalike contest
saw
in the park or
that.
something.
That was earlier this month or so. I saw an Instagram
Yeah.
thing. Oh, it was funny. I wish I had a 613 bus down. I would so be her.
You're killing me right now. It's so funny. No, because God, seeing her like her new billboards. I don't know. For some reason, I felt so proud of her. I was like, I'm so proud of Jumana right now. My random idea. This is
Yes.
a new section. New section of the Divas podcast is share any idea. Doesn't have to be serious. It doesn't, or it could be serious. Whatever. It can be something that's really important to you, or it can just be something that you're like for yourself. Whatever. So my idea is that I really would love to try and find my drag persona, and I really want to like find that, and I hope I find that. And I really want to do drag. I really want to.
Yes.
I love to perform. That's like a part of my love. Like I used to play like the saxophone and be in choir, and I did like musical theater
What?
stuff,
Really?
and I did all that stuff with my friend Amanda. So Amanda, we
yeah,
did
yeah, yeah.
that podcast, Diva Amanda, the oh my God, paraprofessional, and my lovely best friend. We did like that stuff together. And so I really want to be able to do that again. And I feel like my outlet is going to be drag. It's going to
I
be
love
something like that. And so my idea is that I should do that. And that's my idea. And I would like, if anybody's like, oh, that's a good idea, I'd like you to give me some affirmation.
Yeah.
Make me do it. Because I'm a
Please.
procrastinator, but I want to do it. So that's my
Siren.
idea.
Siren needs new performers. We need new
You're
fish
looking at
on the
them.
table.
You're looking at them.
Yes. I'm gonna bounce off of that. I
Okay.
have thought of drag too, but I'm not gonna like I can't say like, oh, I want to do drag too. Like that.
Well, if that's what we want to talk about, though.
I would love to, but I've kind of shut that down myself because the only heels I could find are size 51 heels, which if you convert that to US, that's like size 19. And even that's a little bit tight. And they're 5-inch boots.
Yeah, because
So
you
I'm
got like big feet.
I got big feet. Size 15.
Look at this next to that.
Ooh. Boots
Yeah.
down. But no, kind of close to that, I want to discover my fursona.
I knew it. I wanted to ask. We knew it.
Wait, what do you want to ask?
I know, because I was like, what is your persona?
Okay, so I did ask my friend once. They did use AI to come up with it, so I don't condone the visual, but the name we came up ethically. I came up with it ethically. He used AI, which he will receive karma for that. But Anastasia, I'm thinking Anastasia, but because it's a fursona, I was thinking, like a horse is just so motherly and like caring, nurturing, but also like very fierce. Like you see horses, male or female, and baby, they're built.
Horse.
They're built.
They're
Horse.
Horse.
Look at that horse. Look at that horse. Ooh. But no, because it's Anastasia, I have to figure out a way to kind of like incorporate the nay in Anastasia. So that's my fursona, y'all. But I
want one now.
I know.
I want one now.
You gotta think of it. The first thing that I did is come up with like an animal that I resonated with. The thing is also, I'm the year of the horse. 02.
I'm the year of the dragon.
Ooh, maybe you should be a dragon. I don't see many dragon furries.
Really? I feel like that would be more of a thing because like, I feel like there's been like lots of like dragon characters that people have actually had like outfits for, like full on like things that I've seen, like Dragon Tales. Like, what if I'm one of those?
Ooh.
What if I'm one of the dragons from Dragon Tales?
Yeah.
I forgot their names.
I just think it would be nice to like incorporate it like in my just daily wear, like not a whole fursuit because maybe nobody got money for that.
No, but it's
like,
more like the emulating this like powerful energy.
Like Horse Girl. That's
that's
Horse Girl.
That's could just like dress up as Horse Girl. That would have been a fun.
It would have.
But it's probably difficult to do. I would love one day if Horse Girl would release how she does the face. I want to see that.
She's definitely got it custom made, baby.
Like her custom made persona.
Yeah. But see, the thing is, like, it's only the neck up, and I really like that because like she's able to still express her herself through the rest of her body. Yeah. But then she has that force. And that's how I feel Anastasia is. So it's not Anastasia, Anastasia. Which one feels better, Anastasia or Anastasia? Like I need to incorporate the na. Anastasia. Maybe I'm just a little British when I perform.
I would love that because I feel like you're all posh. You're like a little posh horse. Horse named Anastasia.
Wait. I'm a what?
A little moment, but yeah, this wraps up the portion of getting to know Diva Ibraheem in the context of being a diva in Detroit, experiencing Detroit, and just experiencing being a diva in life. Yeah. And how that intersects in the crazy, crazy world we live in. So we're gonna wrap this up by saying Diva. You ready? Yes. 1, 2, 3. Diva!
Hi guys.
Hey
Hi guys.
Hey guys. Yeah. Welcome, City Bird.
Oh wait,
We got stuff.
we got stuff.
Let's unbox. Let's unbox. I got these cute little hair clips made by a person named Nat Nor. And I look like little clips in my hair, like a little clip.
Little get ready with
A
me.
little, yeah. Get ready with me. Get my hair out of my face. Talk. Get into it. What'd you
Okay,
get?
I got a candle because I need to make my room smell good again. It smells like spray paint. I got Smitten.
Ooh, that's so like
Floral, little citrusy. Here, you guys smell.
citrusy. Oh.
Okay.
Kind of smells like candy. Wait, let me get
ASMR.
one more good.
Good. ASMR.
Fuck. Who's that made by?
The Kalamazoo Company.
Kalamazoo.
Dan's never heard of that zoo, apparently.
Well,
Yes.
yeah, that's what we did. It was really puss. We love City Bird.
Wonderful place
We
to
love
get little
Amelia.
trinkets.
Yeah, little
A
trinkets,
gift, you know.
a gift, like a card that is like, and everything's like, you know, you're supporting a small business and you come here,
Yes.
you're supporting local artists when you come here, and I just think that's so wonderful to do. So big kisses to City Bird for letting us film here and support y'all in the process, support us, be a diva. Thank you, Amelia.
Oh, yes.
Fit check. Okay, you first. You first.
This is obviously fake leather, if you can't tell.
Ooh.
From Salvation Army. These are Access jeans from eBay. This is a hangover shirt. I thought that was very appropriate for today.
Yeah.
From Goodwill. Savage X Fenty, my girl Ree, my twin.
Shit.
Yes. This belt and these things, and then this chain. Okay. Chris, the angel.
Hi. This is Sisterhood of the Traveling Shirt. It was Dan's, but then before that it was Alyssa's. And I don't know where it was before that. It's a mystery. She's lost her origin story. But yeah, and I love that you can see my little tattoo through it. And then I got I don't want to say where they're from because it's like from fucking Target, but you know, and I'm pretty sure this is from, yeah, shame, but like thrift and like thrift. My
Work
little
it, honey.
Old Navy with the mushroom sock. Okay, this from like a random stuff swap.
Oh, the hat is
there was like
insane.
this really sexy diva that like donated this, and I was like, I want to emulate her energy because she's like a dominatrix kind of vibe, and I was like, that's kind of like the vibe I wanted to give today, even though like if you actually know me, that's not really my vibe, but hey. Thank y'all for watching and supporting Divas with Ideas. We love you, City Bird.